Today, we return to the narrative story of the Israelites while they were in exile in Babylon. Most of the Jewish people lost faith in their God. Many forgot their heritage and began to acclimate to the pagan Babylonian culture. They gave up. But in the book of Daniel, we read of a few individuals who stayed committed to God, even when it was going to cost them their lives. These three men we read of in Daniel chapter 3 are named Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. Now, these three men kept themselves focused on worshiping the God of their ancestors. A new law was written by the Babylonian king that all the Jews were to bow down and worship a statue. We know this is obviously breaking one of the 10 commandments from generations before: do not worship false gods. These three young men would not bow down to this false god. Their punishment was to be thrown into the fiery furnace. And because of his anger, King Nebuchadnezzar threw Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego into the fire set 7 times hotter than normal. The flames were so intense, we read, that the guards outside the furnace were killed instantly. But an amazing thing happened, as we read in Daniel chapter 3. But suddenly, Nebuchadnezzar jumped up in amazement and exclaimed to his advisors, "Didn't we tie up 3 men and throw them into the furnace?" "Yes, your majesty, we certainly did," they replied. "Look," Nebuchadnezzar shouted, "I see 4 men, unbound, walking around in the fire unharmed, and the 4th looks like a god." Then Nebuchadnezzar came as close as he could to the door of the flaming furnace and shouted, "Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, servants of the Most High God, come out, come here." So Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego stepped out of the fire. Then the high officers, officials, governors, and advisors crowded around them and saw that the fire had not touched them. Not a hair on their heads was singed, and their clothing was not scorched. They didn't even smell of smoke. Miraculously, God physically protects his people. Even in this wonderful snapshot that we get, the furnace, while these guys are facing death, God appears. Many scholars have spent time trying to figure out if that 4th person who appeared was an angel or even the pre-incarnate Jesus himself. What we do know is that God's protection keeps these men unharmed in the midst of the fire.